I paid my sister's entire school tuition after our parents said they couldn't afford it. Then she told them I was settling and should fund her lavish lifestyle post-graduation. They had no idea I'd already cut her off until the dean called. The message notification lit up my phone screen as I was finishing another client's tax returns at 11 p.m. Mom's group text, Sunday dinner. Big news from Camille. Victor, bring those tuition payment forms we discussed. So proud of my baby girl. I'm Victor, and I've been paying my sister's medical school tuition for the past 4 years. Every cent of it. My laptop screen blurred as I blinked away exhaustion. Another late night of freelance accounting work after my regular 9 to 5 at the investment firm. The stack of instant coffee cups beside me told the story of my typical Wednesday. You coming to bed soon? My roommate Ryan called from the hallway. It's getting late. Just one more return, I replied, though we both knew I'd say the same thing an hour later. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Camille. Bro, can't wait to tell you everything Sunday. BTW. My rent's due next week. Same account? I stared at the message, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. 4 years of these casual money requests. 4 years of just until I graduate turning into just until residency turning into what next? The memory of how this all started played in my mind like a worn-out movie. Mom and Dad sitting me down right after Camille got her acceptance letter, their faces painted with that particular blend of pride and worry. We just can't afford it, Mom had said, wringing her hands. But she's so brilliant, Victor. She could be such an amazing doctor. Dad had cleared his throat awkwardly. You're so responsible with money, son. Always have been. And you're doing so well at your job. I'd agreed before they even asked because that's what good sons do. Right? My phone rang, startling me from the memory. It was Ryan. I can hear you thinking from my room, he said when I picked up. What's wrong? Family dinner Sunday. Mom wants me to bring tuition paperwork. Again? Vic, you've already paid for, I know. And your promotion? I know, Ryan. There was a pause. Want me to come with? I could fake an emergency halfway through, I laughed despite myself. Thanks, but I'll. Anij. It's just dinner. After hanging up, I opened my banking app. The number stared back at me. My savings account barely breaking 5 figures, my investment account depleted from the last tuition payment, my retirement fund. Better not to look. My phone pinged with another message from Mom. Don't forget the forms. Camille's so excited to discuss her future plans. Future plans. The words sat heavy in my stomach. I opened my desk drawer and pulled out a folder labeled Camille Medical School. Inside were neat rows of numbers, each representing another piece of my life I'd sacrificed for my sister's dream. Tuition payments, book fees, rent checks, car insurance, all carefully documented in my accountant's handwriting. Ryan appeared in my doorway, arms crossed. You know what your problem is? My inability to say no. Your inability to see how much you're worth. He walked over and closed my laptop. Bed. Now. Whatever Sunday brings, you'll need sleep to face it. I nodded, but as I got ready for bed, Mom's text kept flashing through my mind. Bring those forms. Like I was just the family banker, the ATM with a pulse. The next morning at work, my supervisor, Frank, stopped by my desk. Victor, that analysis you did for the Morgan account, brilliant work. Have you given any thought to that senior position we discussed? I felt a familiar pang of regret. I'm still considering it. It would mean relocating to the Boston office, he continued, but the salary increase would be substantial. My heart raced at the possibility. Then my phone buzzed. Another text from Camille about Sunday dinner. I'll let you know soon, I told Frank, but we both knew what my answer would be. It had been the same answer for 4 years. Not now, not yet, maybe next time. As I watched Frank walk away, something shifted inside me. Maybe it was the weight of all those late nights catching up to me. Maybe it was the realization that I'd turned down 3 promotions in 4 years, or maybe it was just time. I picked up my phone and typed a response to Camille. Yes. I'll bring the forms on Sunday. But for the first time, I wasn't sure what I'd be signing. Ryan's words echoed in my head. Your inability to see how much you're worth. Sunday was coming, and something told me it wouldn't be just another family dinner. Mom's pot roast filled the house with a familiar aroma as I stepped through the front door, forms tucked under my arm. The good china was out, always a sign that Camille was the focus of tonight's celebration. There's my responsible boy. Mom rushed to hug me, then immediately reached for the folder. Let's get the boring paperwork out of the way before dinner. I held onto it. Maybe we should eat first. Camille bounded down the stairs, designer watch glinting on her wrist, a graduation gift to herself she'd put on my credit card last month. Bro, wait till you hear my news. Dad emerged from his study, newspaper tucked under his arm. There's my 2 successful children, he said. But his proud smile was aimed at Camille. We gathered around the dining table, Mom's best tablecloth spread beneath steaming dishes. I noticed the wine was my favorite red, a bad sign. Mom only served my preferred wine when she wanted something. So, Camille started, barely waiting for everyone to sit. I have decided on my specialty track. Oh, honey, tell them. Mom practically bounced in her seat. Neurosurgery. She beamed. It's incredibly competitive, but Dr. Phillips says I have real potential. That's ambitious, I said carefully, calculating the extra years of training in my head. It's perfect for her, Mom interjected. My brilliant girl, saving lives. Camille nodded, helping herself to a large portion of roast. The thing is, it's going to be intense, like, really intense. I won't have time for any side jobs during residency. The room went quiet except for the clink of silverware. I felt it coming. Actually, she continued, I'll need to focus completely on my studies. No distractions. You understand, right, Vic? I set down my fork. Understand what? Well, you've been so amazing with handling all the, practical stuff. And since you're settled in your career, settled, the word tasted bitter. You know what I mean? You're stable, established, and it's not like you have a family to support or anything. Mom jumped in. What your sister means is that this is such an incredible opportunity, and you've always been so good with money, sweetheart. Good with money, I repeated slowly. You mean good at giving it away? Now, Victor, Dad warned, his tone carrying that familiar don't rock the boat edge. Camille leaned forward, her face arranged in that earnest expression she'd perfected over years of getting her way. I've been looking at apartments near the hospital. There's this perfect place. It's a bit pricey, but the location would really help with my schedule. Have you looked at the numbers? I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. That's what the forms are for. Mom reached for my folder again. We can work it all out tonight. I pulled the folder closer. These aren't approval forms. What do you mean? Camille's smile faltered. I opened the folder and spread out 4 years of receipts, bank statements, and transfer records across Mom's precious tablecloth. This is everything I've paid for, every dollar, every cent. Victor, please. Dad started, but I cut him off. $432,000, I said. That's not including the car, the rent, or the credit cards. The silence was deafening. But that's what family does, Camille said weakly. We support each other. Support? I laughed, and the sound surprised even me. When's the last time any of you asked about my life, my dreams? Did you know I was offered a promotion last week? That's wonderful, dear, Mom said quickly. But right now, we need to focus on Camille, like always. I stood up, gathering the papers. I'm done. Done? Camille's voice cracked. What do you mean done? I mean done. Finished. No more payments. No more support. No more putting my life on hold. You can't do this. Mom's voice rose. She's your sister. Yes. She is. And she's also an adult who can figure out her own finances. I walked to the door, then turned back. Oh, and Camille, hope you enjoyed the Last Supper. Victor, Mom called after me. Don't you dare walk out. What will people think? I paused at the door. They'll think exactly what I should have realized years ago, that I'm not an ATM. I'm a person. The drive home was a blur. My phone exploded with messages. Mom, Dad, Camille, all demanding I come back, all insisting I was being selfish. When I walked into my apartment, Ryan took one look at my face and grabbed 2 beer bottles. That bad? Actually, I said, a strange lightness in my chest. I think it was exactly what needed to happen. My phone buzzed again. Frank this time. Still interested in that Boston position? For the first time in years, I smiled as I typed my response. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. The next morning, I walked into the bursar's office at Camille's medical school, my hand steady as I signed the paperwork. You want to terminate all future payments? The clerk looked up from her computer. Are you sure about this, Mr. Wade? Completely. I slid the form across the desk. And I'd like a note added to the account stating I'm no longer responsible for any charges. The student will need to make alternative arrangements immediately, she warned. That's not my concern anymore. My phone had 37 missed calls by the time I reached my office. I switched it to silent and focused on my work, but Ryan's message caught my eye. Lunch? You look like you need to talk. We met at our usual cafe where Ryan ordered us both extra large coffees. Spill, he demanded. I did it. I cut her off completely. Finally. Ryan practically shouted, drawing looks from nearby tables. Sorry, but seriously, it's about time. What triggered it? Remember my 20th birthday? The one where your mom turned your party into a fundraiser for Camille's medical books? I nodded. Or last Christmas, when I couldn't go on that ski trip with you because Camille needed new winter tires. Or the time, okay. I get it. Ryan interrupted. But why now? Because I'm tired of being the family ATM. Did you know Camille spent $300 on a watch last month? On my credit card. Meanwhile, I'm eating ramen to make rent. Ryan's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and frowned. Vic, you might want to check social media. I pulled up Instagram to find Camille's latest post. Sometimes the people who should support you the most are the ones who hurt you deepest. Hashtag toxic family, hashtag boundaries. Hashtag healing. She's playing victim, I laughed incredulously. Classic. Your mom's commenting on it too, Ryan pointed out. Praying for you, my sweet girl. Some people just don't understand family loyalty. My coffee suddenly tasted bitter. $20 says she wrote that from her house that I helped refinance last year. Back at work, Frank called me into his office. About Boston, he started. I want it, I said firmly, if the offer still stands. It does, but it means moving in 3 weeks. Are you sure your family obligations won't be an issue? No obligations anymore. I straightened in my chair. I'm free to focus on my career. My phone lit up with a call from an unknown number. When I answered, a professional voice spoke. This is Dean McKenzie from the medical school. Do you have a moment to discuss Camille Wade's account? I've already spoken with the bursar's office, I replied. Yes. About that. She paused. Your sister's enrollment status is now in jeopardy. She's claiming there must be some mistake. There's no mistake. I'm no longer funding her education. I see. Another pause. You should know she's been quite vocal about the situation around campus. Let me guess. She's telling everyone her cruel brother abandoned her? Something like that. The dean's tone softened. Though her version doesn't quite match our financial records. After hanging up, I opened my laptop and created a new folder, Evidence. Into it went screenshots of every transaction, every manipulative text, every guilt-tripping email from the past 4 years. Ryan appeared at my desk. Your mom's calling me now. What did she say? That I should talk some sense into you, that Camille's future is at stake. Ryan rolled his eyes. I told her I fully support your decision and hung up. My email pinged, a message from Dad. Son, please reconsider. Your mother's beside herself. Camille's devastated. This isn't like you. That's the problem, I muttered. Everyone thinks they know exactly what I'm like. Ryan perched on my desk. Remember when you wanted to start your own consulting firm? 3 years ago, I nodded, right before Camille's first tuition payment was due. You could do it now, he pointed out. With the Boston salary, my phone buzzed again. A text from Camille. The dean called me in. They're threatening to suspend my enrollment. Is this what you wanted? To ruin my life? I showed Ryan the message. Watch how fast this becomes my fault. Let them spin it however they want, he said. You know the truth. I looked at the Boston offer letter on my screen, then at the growing folder of evidence on my desktop. For years, I'd been the family's backbone, their safety net, their silent supporter. But as I typed my acceptance email to Frank, I realized something. Silence had been my chains, and I wasn't just breaking free. I was about to get loud. My phone lit up with another call from the dean's office. This time, I smiled as I reached for it. The reckoning was just beginning. Mr. Wade, I'll be direct. Dean McKenzie's voice was crisp through the phone. Your sister's tuition payment is now 2 weeks overdue. Without immediate resolution, she'll be placed on financial suspension. I understand, I replied, keeping my voice neutral. But as I explained to the bursar's office, I'm no longer responsible for Camille's expenses. She seems to think otherwise. She's been quite insistent that this is a temporary misunderstanding. I could imagine Camille's practiced charm, her rehearsed smile. It's not a misunderstanding, Dean McKenzie. She's a grown woman who needs to handle her own finances. After hanging up, I turned to find Frank in my office doorway. Ready to discuss the Boston transfer? Actually, he said, closing the door behind him. I wanted to talk about the salary package. The board approved a higher offer than initially discussed. He slid a paper across my desk. The number made my eyes widen. This is, I started. What you're worth, Frank finished. What you should have been earning years ago if you hadn't kept turning down promotions. My phone buzzed. Camille calling for the 12th time today. I declined it. When can you start? Frank asked. Before I could answer, my phone lit up again. Mom this time, then immediately after, Dad, then Camille again. Family emergency? Frank raised an eyebrow. No, I said firmly, silencing my phone. Just people learning that actions have consequences. Back at my desk, I opened my email to find a message from Camille. Bro, this isn't funny anymore. The dean says they're going to suspend me. Mom and Dad can't help. You know that. I have exams next week. Please don't ruin everything I've worked for. Everything she worked for. The word stung. Ryan appeared with coffee. Your sister's gone nuclear on social media. Check her latest post. I pulled up Instagram to find a long, emotional post about family betrayal and navigating toxic relationships while pursuing your dreams. The comment section was filled with sympathetic responses. "She's always been good at playing victim," I muttered. Speaking of playing, did you see what your mom posted? My mother's Facebook status read, "Heartbroken watching my daughter struggle because of others' selfishness. Please keep Camille in your prayers." My phone buzzed with a text from Dad. "Your mother's taking anxiety medication because of this. Is that what you wanted?" I showed Ryan the message. Funny how they never needed medication when I was working myself sick to pay their golden child's tuition. You know what this needs? Ryan pulled out his laptop. Documentation. We spent the next hour organizing my evidence folder, screenshots of Camille's luxury purchases using my credit card, records of my depleted savings, emails where my parents dismissed my career opportunities in favor of Camille's needs. "This is intense," Ryan said, scrolling through years of financial abuse. "Have you shown this to anyone?" "Not yet." I hesitated. "But maybe." My office phone rang. The dean again. "Mr. Wade. I apologize for calling again, but there's been a development. Your sister has submitted some concerning documentation regarding her financial independent status." My heart skipped. "What kind of documentation?" "Forms suggesting she has independent means to fund her education. Given your recent statements, I'm concerned about their authenticity." I sat up straighter. "Dean Mackenzie, I'd be happy to provide you with detailed records of exactly who has been funding Camille's education for the past 4 years. After hanging up, I turned to Ryan. "She's trying to forge financial documents." "That's fraud," he said, eyes wide. "Yes," I replied, opening my evidence folder. "Yes. It is." My phone lit up with another call, this time from an international number. Ryan grabbed it before I could. "Hold up," he said, Googling the area code. "This is from London. Isn't that where Camille was hoping to do her residency?" A new email popped up from the dean. "Mr. Wade, given recent developments, would you be willing to provide a formal statement regarding your sister's financial history with the school?" I looked at the international number still flashing on my phone, then at the years of evidence on my screen, then at the Boston offer letter sitting on my desk. "You know," I said to Ryan, "I think it's time everyone learned exactly who's been behind Camille's success story." "You're going to do it?" Ryan asked. "Go nuclear?" "No," I replied, starting to type my response to the dean. "I'm just going to tell the truth. Every single detail of it." My phone buzzed one final time, a text from Camille. "Please, Vic, I need you." For the first time in years, those words didn't move me. Instead, I opened my email and began, "Dear Dean Mackenzie, I appreciate your concern regarding the situation. Please allow me to provide a complete financial history." The truth, as they say, was about to set me free. The pounding on my apartment door started at 7 a.m. on Saturday. I knew it was coming. Mom's texts had grown increasingly frantic after the dean's office contacted Camille about discrepancies in her financial documentation. "Victor." Mom's voice carried through the door. "Open this door right now." Ryan emerged from his room still in pajamas. "Want me to call security?" Before I could answer, I heard Dad's voice. "Son, please. We need to talk about this as a family." I opened the door to find my entire family in the hallway. Mom's mascara was smeared. Dad looked exhausted. And Camille, my perfect little sister, was pale with rage. "What did you tell the dean?" she demanded, pushing past me into the apartment. "The truth." I closed the door behind them. "Every single detail of it." "You had no right." Mom's voice shook. "Do you know what you've done?" "Actually," Ryan interrupted, laptop in hand. "He had every right." "Want to see the spreadsheet of exactly what Victor's done for this family?" "Stay out of this," Mom snapped. "No. Let's show them." I nodded to Ryan, who turned the screen around. $432,000 in tuition, he began reading. $68,000 in rent, $42,000 in car payments and insurance, $12,000 in credit card debt. "Stop," Camille shouted. "Those were gifts. You offered to help." "Gifts?" I laughed. "Let's talk about gifts, Camille. Like the Rolex you bought yourself using my credit card or the luxury apartment you insisted you needed for studying." "You're just jealous," Mom cut in. "Jealous that your sister is doing something meaningful with her life while you just push papers around." The words hit like a slap, but I stayed calm. "You mean my job? The one that paid for everything on this spreadsheet? The dean is threatening to suspend me." Camille's voice cracked. "The residency program in London already pulled my application. They're saying something about fraudulent financial documents." "Funny how that works," I said. "Actions having consequences." "You vindictive bastard," she spat. Dad finally spoke up. "Language, Camille. Victor, surely we can fix this. What do you want?" "What do I want?" I walked to my desk and pulled out a folder. "I want you all to see these." I spread out papers across my coffee table, Rejected promotion letters, cancelled vacation plans, credit card statements showing Camille's extravagant spending. This one's my favorite. I pointed to a credit card bill. The day after I cancelled my therapy sessions because I couldn't afford them, Camille spent $600 at a designer store. You're destroying her future, Mom wailed. No, Ryan interjected. He's making her face reality. Reality? Camille laughed bitterly. The reality is he's trying to ruin my life because he's bitter about his own choices. My choices? I felt something snap inside. Like the choice to skip my best friend's wedding because you needed emergency textbook money? Or the choice to live with a roommate at 33 because all my savings went to your tuition? We're your family, Mom pleaded. Family doesn't treat each other like ATMs, Ryan said. Nobody asked you. Mom turned on him. Actually, I said quietly, I'm asking him to witness this moment when I tell you all, I'm moving to Boston. I've accepted a promotion, a real one, with a 6-figure salary and benefits. The silence was deafening. You can't, Camille whispered. Watch me. I handed her a stack of papers. Here's every transaction I've ever made for you, every dollar you owe me, every opportunity I gave up. We'll never be able to pay this back, Dad said, looking at the numbers. I know. I met his eyes. That's not why I'm showing you. I'm showing you so you understand exactly what you're losing. Your soul? Mom's voice dripped venom. Your family? No, I replied. Your safety net. Camille's phone buzzed. The dean's office. Her face went white as she read the message. They're suspending my enrollment pending a financial investigation. Actions, I repeated softly, have consequences. Please. She looked up, tears in her eyes. I'll do anything. Just tell them it was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake, Camille. It was exploitation, and it's over. Mom grabbed her purse, hands shaking. Come on, Camille. We'll figure this out ourselves. Good luck with that, Ryan muttered. As they filed out, Dad lingered at the door. Victor, don't. I cut him off. Just don't. After they left, Ryan clapped me on the shoulder. You okay? My phone pinged. An email from the dean requesting a formal meeting about Camille's financial disclosures. You know what? I said, starting to type my response. For the first time in years, I really am. The truth hadn't just set me free. It had given me my life back. Your sister's gone full martyr mode, Ryan said, sliding his phone across my desk. Check her latest Instagram post. I glanced at the screen, a black and white photo of Camille in her white coat, stethoscope artfully arranged around her neck. The caption read, when those closest to you try to destroy your dreams, remember, success is the best revenge. Hashtag med school struggle, hashtag still resilient, hashtag rising above. The comments were even better, Ryan pointed out. Dozens of sympathetic responses flooded the post. Former classmates, family friends, even some of my relatives, all offering support and condemning the unnamed toxic family member trying to ruin her future. My phone rang. Dean Mackenzie again. Mr. Wade, I've reviewed the documentation you provided, she began. I must say it's comprehensive. I'm an accountant, I replied. We keep receipts. Indeed. We've launched a formal investigation into your sister's financial disclosures. It appears she may have submitted falsified documents for her residency applications as well. I sat up straighter. What kind of documents? Claims of independent wealth, family trust funds, none of which seem to exist. She paused. We've had to notify several residency programs about potential fraud. After hanging up, I opened my laptop to find an email from an unfamiliar address, London Metropolitan Hospital's residency coordinator. Dear Mr. Wade, we're reaching out regarding Camille Wade's financial documentation. Ryan read over my shoulder. She tried to fake financial documents for international programs. That's not just unethical. That's illegal. Speaking of illegal, I said, opening my banking app, look what I just found. There it was. A pending transfer from my account to the medical school's bursar office, one I hadn't authorized. She still has your banking password, Ryan gasped. Not anymore. I quickly called the bank, reporting the unauthorized access and changing all my credentials. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Hope you're happy. Camille's meeting with the academic board tomorrow. Her whole future is at stake. Before I could respond, another message popped up. This time from an old family friend. Just saw Camille's posts. How could you do this to your own sister? She worked so hard. Worked hard spending your money maybe, Ryan muttered. I opened my email and began composing a message to Dean Mackenzie, attaching additional bank statements showing Camille's spending habits. What are you doing? Ryan asked. Making sure they have the full picture, I continued typing. If Camille wants to play victim on social media, fine. But the school should know exactly who they're dealing with. My phone lit up, Frank calling about Boston. Your apartment's ready whenever you are, he said. The team's excited to have you start next month. Perfect timing, I replied, watching another notification pop up from the dean's office. After hanging up, I checked my email. The subject line made my heart stop. Urgent academic integrity investigation, Camille Wade? The dean's message was clear. Camille was being called before the academic board to address serious concerns about ethical conduct and financial misrepresentation. The next morning's headline would read, "Local medical student suspended amid financial investigation." But for the first time, I didn't feel responsible for fixing someone else's mess. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is let them face the consequences of their own actions. 3 years later, I stood in my corner office overlooking Boston's skyline, reviewing quarterly reports from my investment team. The framed photo on my desk wasn't of family holidays or childhood memories but of the day I bought my first home, a modest townhouse that was entirely mine. My phone buzzed with a text from Ryan, who still checked in regularly despite the distance. "Did you see the email?" he wrote. "It's making the rounds in your hometown." I hadn't been back since the move. The clean break had been necessary, like cauterizing a wound. I opened my email to find a forwarded message with a link to the local newspaper. Former medical student returns as rural clinic physician assistant. There was Camille's face, not in designer clothes or perfectly posed for social media, but in simple scrubs, standing outside a community health center in a town I'd never heard of. According to the article, she'd completed an accelerated physician assistant program and was working with underserved populations. "It's humbling," she was quoted saying. "I learned some hard lessons about privilege and responsibility. Now I'm just grateful to be helping people who really need it." I set down my phone, unsure how to feel. Part of me wanted to dismiss it as another performance, her latest role in the ongoing drama of her life. But something in her expression seemed different, the practiced smile replaced by something more weathered, more genuine. My assistant knocked on my door. "Mr. Wade? Your 2 o'clock is here. And this came by courier for you." She handed me a small envelope with my name handwritten on the front. Inside was a check, not large, but significant, and a short note in familiar handwriting. "Victor, this is payment number 17 of 120. I know money can't fix what happened, but I'm committed to repaying what I took from you, financially and emotionally. The clinic doesn't pay much, but I've budgeted 20% of every paycheck. I don't expect forgiveness or even a response. Just wanted you to know I'm trying to be the kind of person who makes things right. Camille." I checked my records. 16 previous payments had indeed arrived over the past 2 years, each one modest but consistent. I'd been depositing them without comment into my someday fund, the consulting business I was finally starting to build on weekends. That evening, I called Ryan. "You think it's real?" I asked after telling him about the note. "The new Camille?" "Hard to say," he replied. "Your parents still playing the victim card?" "Wouldn't know. Haven't spoken to them since Dad's birthday card last year, the one where he asked if I could help with their second mortgage. Which you didn't." "Which I didn't," I confirmed. First time in my life I wrote return to sender on something. After we hung up, I sat on my balcony watching the city lights, thinking about the article, the check, the note. My phone lit up with an email from my foundation, the one I'd started to help siblings trapped in financial exploitation. A young man was seeking guidance on separating his finances from his brothers without destroying their relationship entirely. I began typing a response, but paused halfway through. Was reconciliation ever possible after this kind of betrayal? I honestly didn't know. What I did know was that my life was finally my own, my decisions, my money, my future, no longer mortgaged to someone else's dreams. The next morning, I did something I hadn't done in 3 years. I wrote a brief email to Camille. "Payment received. I see what you're doing at the clinic. Keep going." No forgiveness offered, no relationship reopened, but perhaps a small acknowledgement that I noticed her efforts. It was all I could give right now, and for once, I didn't feel guilty about setting that boundary. My phone rang, Frank calling about the upcoming board meeting where I'd be presenting my proposal for expanding our socially responsible investment portfolio. As I gathered my materials, I glanced at the family photo still sitting in my desk drawer, hidden but not discarded. Maybe someday I'd feel differently. For now, I was still learning the most important skill my ordeal had taught me. Putting my own oxygen mask on first wasn't selfish, it was necessary for survival. And I was not just surviving. I was thriving.